Hi, gang. Hi, regular listeners and newcomers. Welcome back to the Power Rankers podcast for CBRX. And I think we're on a real good roll at the moment. I think the last 3 weeks we put out some stellar episodes. What about you guys?
Amazing content. Honestly, it was so riveting. I just couldn't watch it all in one sitting.
I think it was impressive last week in particular when we did that full 24-hour live stream, just constant, just non-stop CBRX content. I think that was really impressive. And God, if you'd have missed it, I'd feel really sorry for you because, you know, they had that horrible bug that deleted the video immediately, so no one can see it anymore.
It was live only. What a darn shame. I even loaded up Turn 400 and everything. It's amazing how okay, guys, so we're going to be starting. As usual, we got a list of topics we're going to go through that Lax lovingly provided.
I thank you.
It's always lovingly here.
A lot has happened since 6, whenever the actual real last one was. But we're going to try and focus on the most recent part because, we've all talked about, you know, the rise of Papua and all of these random events from 2 weeks ago. We've talked about it all to death now. So let's just stick on the here and now. I am joined by regular Power Rankers, Scissorfingers, and Emsaday, as well as Blue Cassette member Luna Needle, as ever. Hopefully Admiral Cloudberg will be joining us soon, but he's currently stuck in traffic in Seattle somewhere.
He's told us he's going to give us a traffic highlights overview, much like they do on the radio. So I expect that really crispy, good audio to come in as he tells about the traffic on the 400.
Yeah, we just got an update from him about 6 minutes ago. Traffic update dense, and there's a picture of some pretty heavy traffic.
If anyone listening live is currently in a car in the Seattle area, just go into the hard shoulder, pull over, let Cloudberg get home. Treat him like he's an ambulance, because this is urgent. It's an emergency, even.
It is an emergency, folks.
Should I pick him up? I'm in a car.
Where are you currently, Scissor? Are you in the area? You're in Seattle?
No.
Wow. PR meetup live on stream.
Scissor, I think we need you. We need you to keep the ranks alive here. All right, guys. Enough messing
Oh my
around.
God. We both. Okay. I believe we're starting in North America today.
We are, as ever, starting in North America, and we're going to start right at the top of North America, right in the north of North America, in Alaska, with the Yupik domain. And it was quite an eventful part for the Yupik last part. They settled that lovely new city in Siberia. Oh, and they also got declared war on by the Haida.
Yeah. War canoes, baby. It's happening.
This is a war that I know people, we have checked our feedback, and people hate when we talk about tests all the time. So watch as I immediately, in the first point of the podcast, talk about tests. But we did see in tests that Haida would often go at war with Yupik way earlier than this. In one test in particular, they completely eliminated the Yupik by turn, I think, 30. It was ludicrous.
One of the absolute earliest kills. The only other earlier one was the China Showdown, which, well, you know, when you start next to each other in so much terrain, it's gonna happen. But still, it is absolutely amazing, the decisiveness of Haida, and it's one of the main reasons I was somewhat glad Yupik were here, because I did not want an Inuit too. And but at the same time, it feels sad for my Snow Boys.
Sexiest Pokemon is?
Given that we already have a Zimbabwe too,
because I have always been a fan.
Too.
Boards too.
And in Australia too.
Perhaps in Australia.
Literally on Australia too.
Also,
if it was Murray, then it might be a little bit more salvageable. But no, it's
Hey,
Australia.
my coffee.
We'll get onto Oceania because I have feelings
From
about
Kroger.
that. But
It says on here,
Haida Yupik.
hot takes.
we promise
Yupik
products your
get more
family
time to
will
grow
ask
this
for
time
every
than they
time.
did in,
If you are not
Podcast Games
delighted,
Resort.
let us know, and there's a number.
More sizable core.
And I think it's fine.
Well,
like, I don't have any complaints about it.
What are we thinking? What are we thinking the end result of this war is going to be? Because while Haida do have the bigger navy, there's some Yupik inland cities, and there's quite a lot of Yupik ships anyway. Do we think that the Haida are going to get to? Well, let's start with Let's start with a big question. Do we think that Haida will reach Niuktak, which is the Yupik capital? Do we think they'll get that far?
I think they'll reach it, but they won't take it. I think they'll
reach it, they'll peace deal, and take Tunanek across the Bering.
Yeah. I do think that Imanakwak, the city that is the southmost Yupik city, I think that's going to fall, though.
Yeah, with 3 tiles a minimum with very little navy, that's a very, very accurate prediction.
Is that the one on an island?
Yeah,
it's the island.
Yeah, that one was only settled about, like, 3 turns ago or something stupid. 3 turns before the war was declared or something like that. So, yeah, that one's not long for the world, I don't think. But, yeah, the big question is Niuktak, and especially as well, the one just to the north of that, which I think is called Kevach. Chevach, I don't know how you pronounce it, which is one of the most exposed cities on the map, really, because it's got all that ocean around it. It's right in a peninsula. So if you've got a strong navy, it shouldn't be too hard to take. Yeah, those are the 2 I'm kind of most interested in. I think that the Haida Navy have those war canoes are pretty handy, and I think they do have every chance of storming through. And this is the thing. I think if they do surround them, there's not going to be a lot that can stop them. I think, because I kind of disagree, I guess, today, because I think if they do reach them, they will take them. It's the question of, can the Yupik hold the line? I'm not sure. I will also say the Haida have pikemen, which is one of the few civs on the cylinder to currently have them. So even though we don't expect them to go that far inland, if they do, they've definitely got the technological advantage. And they're going to build the Machu Picchu soon. Have a look at Skiddergate, Luna. Just it's like just the north of the main Haida territory. You can see Machu Picchu's being constructed.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Spoopy.
That won't help them, but I'm just saying.
Wait, they have Colossus?
Yeah, they got the Colossus and they've got the Parthenon.
Nice.
They're kind of wonderfuls. We knew this. I mean, not Zimbabwe level, but they are kind of.
The desire to open up IGE and confirm is way too high. Wait, Machu Picchu. Oh my god, I haven't built it in a lot of my more recent Civ games, so I keep on forgetting it exists.
It's a cute baby. It's a cute wonder. I think it looks a lot better in Civ 5 than it does in Civ 6, actually.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous wonder. Anyways, I can circle jerk about how good Civ 5's art direction is for like literally.
Yeah, you got any hot takes, Scissor, for us on the?
No, not really. I mean, I just think that if the Haida are able to secure the Yupik land, I think they will become a real challenger for the Métis in getting control of North America.
I can agree with that. Like, I think if they are able to take the Yupik out within, like, part 15, I think they'll be able to become the Blackfoot to Métis's Canada. Or, not Canada, Inuit.
Inuit.
Yeah.
But you think only that far? You don't think a serious contender? Sorry to Dawkins and everyone who's a huge Blackfoot fan.
I don't think they'll be a major competitor, but I'd love to be proven wrong.
It's interesting. They a late bloomer, and in many ways, Blackfoot were kind of a late bloomer as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of build that core up. But one thing I suppose that kind of brings me on to the Métis, and I don't want to talk about them for too long because I think there's too much to say really. But they have sort of cemented their place in the top 3 as of the past 2 or 3 parts, at least by the power rankings, the overall power rankings. So what do people think Métis are like? A Zimbabwe or Uruguay level power? Because some people are ranking the Métis second. I don't think anyone's ranked them first yet. I haven't seen number 1 ranking for the Métis yet. But do people think they're on the level of Zimbabwe or Uruguay? Do we think they're kind of just the tier below?
I think they're the tier below currently.
Okay. Explain.
So, I've I was a latecomer onto the Matisse bus. I ranked them very low at the beginning because I did not see what they had going for them. But in these last few parts, they've really started to turn around. They've settling cities like crazy. They're having a good, sizable core of an army. And if this war with the Apache goes well, I think they might be able to get onto that Zimbabwe-Uruguay tier.
Okay. I would say, even though I think their military score on paper, it looks to be kind of a similar level to Zimbabwe and other contenders, nowhere near Uruguay, we should say. I do get worried every time I see a shot off the land. I don't know where their army is. I do get, that does worry me. Because it just seems to be hiding somewhere. It's like
It's probably all in boats or scouts.
Well, all in scouts, yeah, probably. So I do worry about for the mate's sake. A civ like, say, the Apache or even Haida, bringing an army out of nowhere, because that's what civs do in the early game. They go from having no army to lots of army very quickly, and bringing a little bit of early hurt to them. I could definitely see that happening, whereas I don't really see that happening to Zimbabwe or Uruguay at the moment. So I'd say that's probably my reason for holding them off the top tier just for now. But I think I would only have to see their military score kind of rocket and see some men on the feet on the ground, if you like, in the next couple of parts to start taking them a lot more seriously in that kind of top tier level.
I think they would be. It's a case of their units just aren't on a front. They're not a wall. They're just interspersed around. I imagine if they congealed on the southern border right now, they would probably be more confidently ranked where they are. But at their current intersparseness, Apache could actually push them back, definitely like pillage some improvements, but get like a shock kind of punch before Métis' army manifests itself. Meanwhile, if its army pushed towards the border right now, I could definitely see Apache being cut out of the contention for top of North America. But
well, I think Apache have
right now they are definitely not performing, using their resources to the most effective.
Yeah, and the other thing I worry is that the Métis cities, especially those kind of ones they're building up to the north, are going to stop growing soon. At least in the current era. Once we hit the modern and future eras, then obviously they'll start to balloon again. But I do worry that we're going to see much bigger Apache cities on those beautiful Californian and Great Plains tiles, and much bigger, obviously, Iroquois cities as well. Whereas the kind of Métis ones, they're probably going to lag behind once those Apache and Iroquois cities kind of pass the 20 population mark and keep rising. But the Métis ones won't be able to get that high because they, obviously the Inuit cities were that big, if you remember, but they had abilities to add a bonus, which we don't have. So I think we'll leave it there on the Métis. I want to go to a new area now, if that's okay, guys. We're going to head to the Quebec Peninsula, which sounds odd because the no civ even started in the Quebec Peninsula, but that's where we're headed. Luna, I assume you've navigated there. So I want to talk about who's going to win this area, because I think it's kind of a weird area. It's the only area in North America now where it doesn't seem like one civ kind of has a control over it, or it doesn't seem like one civ has the dominance over all the other scattered cities in the area. We had a few big holes at the start, like Western America, but we've seen the Apache kind of nail that one down now, and we had big holes in sort of the northern Canadian reaches, but the Métis have pretty much settled there now. Quebec Peninsula, it currently hosts cities from, if I'm not looking at the map, but if I can remember, Canada, the Yupik, and the Manx, with the Iroquois very nearby and with the Métis very nearby as well. So I'm kind of wondering what we think is going to happen here. I'm interested to know if we put all 5 of those civs right at war with each other right now, what do we think the makeup of this area would look like in the end?
Iroquois.
Interesting.
Just straight up. Iroquois has great concentration of power. Canada's going on a pretty aggressive move, which will anger their southern brothers, and Iroquois have amazing concentration of power. If they could move in too well, I could see the city of Kasagluk being the Canadian last city. If they fail their offense, weirdly enough, I put them in a better situation, but not an ultimately great situation. I think the best answer would be the famous one warrior attack that we saw with, I believe, Zimbabwe, was it?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, the one warrior. That would be the best situation, to just lose one warrior and do nothing. So because right now, their southern border, even with only 4 tiles of what I call applicable battlefronts, I see the Mohawk warrior and composite bowman doing a work on Ottawa. It's.
Do you think
I want to have hope and I want to have faith for my boys, but that's painful, and I as a player, I doubt that I would be able to work through this situation. Not to mention an AI.
You're clearly not a pro, Luna. You're clearly not a pro Civ player.
Oh, true. Yeah, you could probably perch composite bowman on the gold hill and just surround it in spear doots and just wait for them to just smash into you for 8 years and take a city. But it's tough. It's one of those how could you survive moments, and AI ain't doing that. I'm curious.
What I was gonna say was you do see Canada taking that Yupik city, because you said they think that would be their last city. So you think that's gonna turn Canadian?
I think it's gonna. I'm gonna say. I don't know. I'm going to say no. It's not going to be Canadian. However, I know for a fact King's a desire to peace is pretty low when he starts a war. And his desire to war is also pretty low. So he's very hesitant to get into a war, but when he's in a war, he will stay in it until the bitter end. So the fact that he declared on
saw that with the Iroquois,
yeah. And unfortunately, it was a case of historical bias kind of screwed him over in this case. But I didn't want to change it for the Royale, so I just left it as something historical and was like, well, if it sucks, it sucks. Fillmore logic.
We don't think the Métis could throw their weight around here then?
Unlikely. Remember the concept of concentration of power? I believe with one tile having one unit, concentration of power means a hell of a lot in short engages, while having a good but not too clustered military is good for prolonged engages. I think, which is the only demerit I would give to something like Iroquois, who they just have big balls of units forcing into choke points. But they still have a big ball of units, and Ottawa has 2. So
yeah. And are any of you three going to defend the Manx colonies?
I mean, God bless the Manx. They're going for it.
Straight up. I don't even care. I'm willing. I will. If I was a player, I'd be like, screw it, Edmonton. That's yours now, Manx. You win. Congratulations.
Well,
sorry for cutting you off, by the way.
I've been kind of. Well, we'll talk a bit later about the Manx as well, actually, as a Civ on a whole, as the on a whole. But we did obviously see another European Civ in Mark II settle this area and hold on to it until the very late game. That was, of course, Iceland. So it's not unperceivable. Even weaker kind of Northeast America that the Manx could hold on to those colonies. It's whether we think they could actually turn it into something other than 2 loose cities. Maybe not. Maybe not right now.
Please eye the Newfoundland settler at half health.
Yeah.
If it settles, that could be a very spicy moment. But I doubt it's going to amount to anything with Manx not having a military in the area. I just find that kind of hilarious.
I do also think one of those, especially that the northernmost of the 2 Manx cities, is a really bad saddle.
Yeah,
that's going to be Métis whenever they want it. But hey ho, we can dream.
I love that they're both named Port, by the way.
Yes, that's lovely.
It's perfect.
It's very good. The Manx doing really well. Well, I really like how the Greenland city is named after me.
Laxey.
Yeah, very cute. I didn't notice that when I was assembling the city list.
Oh yeah, I just scrolled over to the Moor city, and I'm like, oh yeah, they settled Iceland.
Yes, Almeria. Anyway, we will diverge now to South America, unless anybody has any closing thoughts about North America or anything else.
When it comes to concepts of concentration of power, this is something I've began to take as an ideology watching a little bit more AI games. What matters most is the amount of movable land between clusters of units. If the amount of movable land is too short, it doesn't matter the tech advantage. Unless it's ridiculous. It doesn't matter anything. All that matters is the amount of units moving forward, which is why paratroopers are so good, because their effective range of power, instead of being 6 tiles in between mountains, is as far as it can jump. Which is why I could see Canada lasting longer than anyone else, which is why I suggest you to not take the UPIC city. They might exist for a while, but I doubt they're going to be relevant again. And it's also why I think Poverty Point might either die or die in a blaze of glory before Canada does. Too much open tiles, too much areas that units can flood in and out of. It's going to be a very spicy North America, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I hope you're right. I mean, we said earlier on that the kind of defining feature of North America was that everyone was doing pretty much as badly as each other. But that does kind of mean we have a fairly balanced continent, with the exception of the Métis, I suppose, at the moment, and I guess Canada and Poverty Point, who are...
Canada and UPIC are lacking. Haida are average. Everyone else is slightly above average, but like literally any... not literally any, but like majority of the European and Southern American AIs in this situation would be doing 4 to like 6 times better.
Yeah, probably.
It's sad.
Well, we were speaking of South America. We will move on to South America, and there's only one thing I really want to talk about today in the big continent, because I think there's only one thing that's on everyone's mind, and that is the monsters of Montevideo, Uruguay themselves. Is it okay to hate them? Is it okay? Is it okay now to hate them?
Yes.
Is it too early?
Straight up, yes.
Okay.
I'm biased. I'm insanely biased. Basically, when Admiral Klauberg would private message me and say, "Dude, what the actual flipping frying fuck? Why? Panic, burn it down." Okay, that's not exactly what happened, but he pretty much said that they were eliminated from Groundhog Day due to balance issues. And no matter what situation they'd be tossed in, they would come out victorious. And they are put into one of the best situations that they could be given. A majority of their neighbors are coastal and far away behind mountains. They're given a huge amount of terrain. And ever since we massively nerfed the amount of culture that Venezuela was receiving from denouncements, I believe we did that. I actually don't know. But but in later tests is what I'm trying to say. That later tests, Venezuela performed far worse than earlier tests. Earlier tests, he was far and above the most competent. But now I almost don't see a way Uruguay can lose. With all the things that I have seen, it would take a coalition or an actual endless meat grinder followed up with like a Songhai naval invasion to even dent them.
Ooh, exciting! That's fun. Well, you've preempted my question, which was, how do we take down the monster? Now I can see.
They have the weakest naval bias I've seen, and due to the code of me investigating, they never focus on producing units. Whenever they have money, they buy melee units, or if applicable, the settlers, but that was removed later on. So. Just units. Yes. And their naval bias is what, like 3? So their navy is going to be sparse, still there, but sparse enough, and I doubt they're going to prioritize tech such as navigation in favor of things like scientific theory. I need to like redig through their code, but yeah, I think they even prioritize text to make sure that they have an advantage.
Well, here comes the
actually, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
Well, here comes the question then. Who in the area could rival them? Who in the area could bring that huge naval advantage to bear? Nobody.
Maybe
Haiti. If the Haiti? Okay.
God.
Okay, but hear me out. If Haiti just manages to take Caracas, then take out Venezuela, then take out the Curicuro.
No, don't even focus on Curicuro. Take Caracas, maybe see if you can get Maracaibo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Maracaibo.
And then just mass your navy, crash in onto the Brazilian coast, and burn them. Even then, they are the most likely because they have a great naval bias-ish, like a great-ish. Because they're an island, so they have the capacity to gain techs, and they have the priority in their mind to focus on naval techs because of their situation and their high naval bias.
We expect Haiti to go to war with Uruguay soon because Uruguay have just forward settled them with Florida.
Yeah.
And Haiti, when Iroquois settled Florida, as in the state of Florida, they invaded Iroquois. When Venezuela settled Cuba, they went to war. I can't remember if Venezuela declared war on Haiti or whether it was vice versa now. But the point is, Haiti have been going to war with the people who come near them. So we could expect a Uruguayan war soon. Although Haiti's navy is not tip-top shape at the moment.
They're not in the tip-top shape because they're surrounding Caracas and they're not dividing their efforts. I'm actually super shocked to admit they actually at this point are the only ones that can strike the weakness of the beast.
This is the
and that is
energy.
Freaking sad. I think if
this is how Haiti wins the game.
Well, this is the opposite energy to like 2015 when you had those like commentators being like, I don't know, guys. If Donald Trump does this and this, he could.
Yeah, it's a big brain metagame moment. Like, I don't think it's going to happen.
But none of us actually believe it could happen because come on, it's fucking Haiti. And yet, you never know. I really hope so. What about the Curicuro? Let's go away from this now.
I have a undefined faith in Curicuro. I think that they can hold back Uruguay just by sheer force of stubbornness and not just being such a nuisance that Uruguay just has to waste units on that the rest of South America can sort their shit out.
In my opinion, there's one thing holding Uruguay up, which is that at the north they have Curicuro, who are a terrain wall, and to the south they have the Selknam, who are carpeted enough that they're going to, and advanced enough that they're probably going to reject any Uruguayan invasion at the moment. So theoretically, Uruguay could find themselves in a situation where they're piling all their troops onto one side, not really getting much out of it, and then the other side gets a chance to strike. You never know. That could happen. The Nazca are useless, though.
Yep.
I really use them.
Selknam denounced UPIC. 10 out of 10.
There was like 10 seconds where I thought, oh, the Nazca could actually win South America, and no, the Nazca are the worst on the continent. I've decided. They're not the lowest ranked. That's still but the Nazca are the worst civ on the continent.
Haiti are friends with Uruguay.
Oh, really?
Yep. Although 9 turns left, so that was executed 41 turns ago.
Before Florida was settled.
Yeah, before Florida. Apparently they also backstabbed UPIC.
Don't make deals with the devil. No.
Yeah, that might have been ages ago because they had vested interest in Cuicaro.
And Venezuela.
Yeah, and Venezuela. Their interests were aligned. Either way, I'll keep you updated as I'm looking through the diplomacy.
Yes, Spencer did want to have a look at the diplomacy, especially the piety policy civs.
I'm scrolling down all of the civs and slowing so pixelization can keep up and they can maybe screen grab. So I'm doing what I can. If you have any requests, do let me know. Any request, pretty much. I can't show production because we agree that basically just reveals the part. But
even though Koyot just fucking revealed so much of that in Patreon chat this week. Oh well.
Koyot, I'm going to actually.
Like, oh, this Civ's 5 turns off that window, and I was like, Koyot, maybe you should.
Koyot, you're spoiling it. Patreon.com/ I don't even know what our Patreon is.
Seriously, donate to the Patreon.
Civ BR, I think. Let me check.
Fuck knows. I just know it as. I just type in Patreon and it gets me there.
Does
Civ BR. Patreon.com CIVBR CivBR. Give us money, please.
No.
It allows me to eat.
I'll give you £1 a month.
Beautiful.
It's 20p for each BC member. Anyway, how's the pay cut been since Dawkins has joined? Because presumably you all got a pay cut.
Currently all profits are going to running overtime expenses. This isn't counting extra stuff like the Minecraft server. This is counting website.
Wait,
after that, it will be split 5 ways.
Yes.
I'm not in it for the money, and I'm almost willing, depending on the amount of work I put in, I'm willing to give my portion to Koyot or Rion, but I haven't decided on that. It depends on if I'm going to be big brain in season 2 or if I'm going to be small brain. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, keep us updated on how big your brain will be.
Yeah, if my brain increases in size, know that I'm going to be a big boy. Okay. Continue now while I'm scrolling through.
Well, I want to continue to Europe if that's okay. Europa. Yep. The biggest continent. It's not the biggest continent. It feels like it. The busiest continent for sure. We're going to talk about 2 civs. 2 civs who are, I think, ranked in the bottom 10 in the Part 0 rankings. That's what we're going to talk about today. And the first one is Venice. The La Serenissima, the most serene state. Now, is this their golden age? Have they peaked? Is this just the start of an upward trajectory? Because they did have a very, very good last part with their unit, which is that thing that looks like a caravel but isn't. The symbol's a bit dodgy, and their great galleass, which you will remember from Vanilla Venice. They've gone straight to war with Libya. They've already taken Malia off them, which is a city that, in fairness, we all kind of predicted would be Venetian, whoever they took it off. We weren't quite expecting them to take it off Libya, but sometimes it'd be like that. But Derna is next on the agenda. They could probably even surround Tripoli or Misrata. But I don't know. What do we guys think? Their land army is still lacking, and although Czechia are now kind of out of the equation, I could still see someone like the Moors or even the Holy Roman Empire eventually breaking them. What do we think about Venice? Is this are they rocketing into kind of winners of Europe territory, or is this a little bit of a false flag?
I think they're rocketing into major player in Europe, but I don't think they're in it to win it yet.
I think if they take Nubia, they'll be good.
Yeah,
if
they can take out Libya and court and grab that chunk of the Mediterranean, I think they'll be in a really good spot.
Well, I think that puts them kind of Rome Mark 1 size, if any of you remember Mark 1.
I think they're larger than no, I wasn't in Mark 1, I was in Mark 2.
Well, I think they'd be about the size of Rome Mark 1, not Mark 2 Rome, who obviously terrible. I think they'd be about the size of Rome Mark 1, but the difference there is there was less civs in general on the map, so France was a lot bigger and not Carthage. Carthage really fucked that game. It was fun. Carthage were fun that game, but they really fucked it. But they're about the same size as France and other nearby, and Poland and other nearby civs. So it was kind of different vibe. A lot smaller than Poland even. So yeah, do we? But I think my issue with Venice is that I can't see them, even if they do manage to take and hold Libya's coastal cities, which I still don't know if they'll do. I definitely don't see them taking Tripoli this war. I should just say that outright. I think it's too sheltered, Tripoli. I think it's too difficult a city to take with naval units alone. But even if they do take Tripoli and the other Libyan coastal cities, I don't see them being able to push that into something more, go any further into the African interior. Basically, I don't see them beating Songhai in a land war. So I wonder how actually useful this is, because as far as I'm concerned, they are the preeminent Mediterranean naval power already, and they always will be. So I don't think having more naval production bases is going to be that useful. I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to whether they can back up their navy with enough foot soldiers. That's my take, anyway.
I can agree with that.
I guess I have to be the guy who is not singing Venice. I think Venice is only alive due to borders. Remember the concentration of power? No civ has good access to them.
It's true. Czechia did have good access to Lido, and then maybe Venice from there. But
that's it. Lido has 2 tiles access. HRE has, due to the mountains, pretty much 2 tiles, aside from the one directly above Venice. So 3 tiles. 3 tiles of access. Murano is the only outstretched city, so they don't need to produce units. But if they do, they'll be competent, but those concentrations of power that are keeping them alive will hamper any offense. Navy is one of their only get out of this heck hole free card. That being said, if HRE end up conquering Prague, that situation will change a little bit. But I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening till artillery. And until then, Venice can do whatever the heck they want, which is a good situation to be in. Power? No. Alive by terrain? Yes. They're the Quicaro of Europe. But unlike Quicaro, they have actual yield, so they might do a thing, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yes. We have a model. We have a nice shot now in the PR Discord. I don't know if you want to get it up, Luna, in the PR Discord's PRCast channel, of Mark 1 Rome at about the same point in time. Thank you very much to Aaron for supplying that to us. And I think they're kind of similar. They control Italy, the Italian islands. They've obviously got a city in Africa. They also control Greece, which is the main difference. So kind of less of Europe, but Greece as well. So yeah, kind of similar to Rome. And Rome stuck around to the end of Mark 1. It wasn't like Mark 2. They didn't die.
Forgot how thin Rome was.
Strong. But then
Italy.
There was basically 2 civs in Europe as well as other than Rome. By the end, there was Poland and France and Rome. So yeah, we'll see. I'm certainly warmer on Venice now than I was just 2 or 3 parts ago. They weren't really settling until about 2 or 3 parts ago, so I was always kind of just waiting for the Dow to come that would scupper them once and for all. But they got away with it. They've now kind of got that navy up on the ground and got that science tech, that naval tech up. So we'll see. I don't want to call it either way. But let's talk about another civ who are also ranked in the bottom 10 in Part 0. And I did say we'd be coming back to them. It is the Isle of Man. They were one of the lowest ranked civs in Part 0. I can't remember exactly where. I think it was 59. I think only Manoa and Haiti were lower. I could be wrong. But now they are not 59. It's safe to say. I don't want to reveal what ranking we will have them out this week because PRs are not out yet. But I will tell you that I am the highest. I have the highest Manx ranking by some distance, but I ranked them 11th, which is optimistic. I admit. But hear me out. There is no Iceland in this game, by which I mean there is literally not a civ in Iceland. There is no civ in Greenland. So you don't have to worry about a mystery power.
There's technically the Moors, but I think I think HRE are going to actually take that. Funny enough.
I think you're probably right, actually. But in any case, what I mean is there's no civ starting in Iceland, getting a nice production base in Iceland and Greenland, and then sweeping down. So there's no mystery power, is what I'm saying.
Actually, hold up. One naval unit can access Almeria. I don't know how to pronounce that. Only one naval unit can access it and weaken it. So they're just gonna walk in, attack it, and then eventually die. Yeah. Next one walks in. But Manx actually have a spearman on the island. They could actually take it.
God. That would be joyous. A joyous snipe.
That would be a great
please.
snipe.
The blessed. I have never before seen something blessed, and that is the biggest bless. Please let me see it. All right, tangent over. Continue.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying is there's no Iceland to suddenly conquer the map of nowhere. Instead, we have a Civ now who have, I think we can all agree, won the British Isles. Scotland are going to struggle to get back into it now. We've got a Civ who have one of the best navies in the area. Holy Roman Empire probably being the biggest contenders currently for that title. But the Vikings are kind of underperforming, even though, again, not hit their longboat yet. When they hit their longboat, maybe we'll reevaluate the situation. But Manx have overperformed in terms of production, in terms of, military, in terms of science, gone way higher than we thought they would. Exactly like Iceland did in Mark II. We all talked down Iceland for their terrible terrain, but they were overperforming on the stats the same way the Manx are currently. And I could see it happening in the same way that I think if Iceland weren't in the game, I think Ireland stood a really, really good chance in Mark II of doing something significant, of breaking through France and maybe getting a foothold in Europe. And obviously there's Greenland and Quebec colonies as well, although I'm not putting too much stock in them currently. But yeah, I'm feeling really optimistic about them, and it's good because they're my number one. They're my favorite Civ on the cylinder. So maybe it's blind optimism.
I do not like them because they are a one-tile Civ, purely because I do not want to see more one-tile Civs. But holy crap, they are amazing in this situation. I have no words. Or maybe just Scotland. Okay, yeah, no, Scotland's grotesquely incompetent. But holy, obtaining Glasgow actually completely eliminates Scotland, and now they only have to push up their army up against the Moors, who are their only puts in.
Just say that city name again.
It
began with G. No, a city name. It began with G.
Glasgow.
Glasgow?
Glasgow. I don't even fucking know.
You do fucking know. It's Glasgow.
It's Glasgow. Okay. Glasgow. Glasgow. With Glasgow being traded over. Scotland's done. And the Moors can't roll up because their navy is good enough and their unit carpet is formidable. The Isles have been secured, and the second the Moors churn away to fight some war in Africa, I could see it hapappening.
Fingers crossed.
Could be happening a UK Ken into Europe.
I don't think the Moors are in a position to attack Britain currently, or will be in the future. However, I did mention them earlier, and this is my one fear for Manx, my biggest fear, and that is a Civ that is definitely underperforming at the moment, the Vikings. Now, I have the Vikings still ranked a lot higher than most of the other power rankers. In fact, I think I do have the highest, although me and Aaron are both, I think, one rank away from each other, and then kind of everyone else about 20 ranks lower. But even then, I can admit the Vikings aren't doing great currently, but they did just settle Shetland and Faroe, and they will eventually, in the next 3 parts or so, hit their unique unit, the longboat, which is a very, very powerful replacement of the Galleass? I think it's a Galleass replacement. I can't remember. Somebody correct me.
Yeah.
That's my main worry. I think once the Viking hit their unit and start building up a big navy, start spamming that unit basically, I think suddenly the tides of naval supremacy will turn quite significantly. For me, if the Manx want to really, really capitalize on the current situation, they need to go to war with the Vikings now. They need to get rid of the Shetland.
It replaces the Caravel. And as a result has 5 movement. That's very important.
It's useful.
For a player, actually. Never mind.
I will say one thing. I remember this from a while ago, Luna, so I'm going to make you check for me, which is that Sami and Vikings were friends with Scotland and Manx, but I can't remember which way around it was. So it was like Sami and Scotland and Viking and Manx, or Vikings and Scotland and Sami and Manx. I can't remember which way around. It was like they both had an ally in Scandinavia. Go check for me, lackey.
Yes, mister. Right away. Friends with? Are you curious if they're friends?
Yes.
Yupik, Seljuk, Sulu, Shikoku, Vatadi.
Wait, whose friends are these?
That's Sami.
Oh, okay. Well, the friendship's clearly expired. This did happen, I promise.
Yeah, it did happen. They've denounced Muscovy, Isle of Man, Manoa, Venezuela, India, Qing, Korea, Prussia. They backstabbed Tongu. Those bastards. Songhai, Golden
Horde. What was Tongu?
No, they apparently backstabbed Tongu by something. I don't know. Maybe they declared. I don't know.
Big Net Tongu?
Yeah, they apparently backstabbed them. I don't know how. Maybe they denounced them after being friends with them or something. I don't know.
I don't quite. Yeah, whatever.
I don't know how the backstab mechanics work. Either way, they apparently are really pissed off with each other and they're not returning each other's calls.
Anyway, I think
they've denounced Songhai, Golden Horde, HRE, Kazakhs, Parthia, Nenetsia.
A lot. A lot
of people.
Time for a traffic update. What's our Seattle
traffic update with Admiral Cloudberg? How's it doing out there?
I made it.
Well, hey.
Welcome.
There is no cars on the road. Officially, all cars are canceled. We got the lad. For those unaware, we Admiral Cloudberg, the AI game wizard. Actually, I looked at his sheet. He's a sorcerer. He's been lying to you.
Oh, really?
Wait,
yeah.
Are you wild magic sorcerer or are you? No, I can't believe on this. Wild magic and dragon.
Wild magic. There's wild
Dragon
magic,
energy.
draconic bloodline, divine spirit.
Dragon energy.
Shadow sorcerer.
Yeah, shadow sorcerer.
I want to play that. That sounds like
I'm actually playing an angelic boy, and it's fucking fun.
I'm DMing a sorcerer at the moment, so I have a party member in my group who's a wild magic sorcerer, which is all very fun. He killed his girlfriend last episode, so well done. Shout out to Patrick.
That's great.
Or his character Bosun. Anyway, I don't think the world wants to hear about my D&D adventure. Cloudberg, before we move on, do you have any words on the Manx?
I have many words on the Manx. Well,
the mic is yours.
Actually,
we'll speak words, and if you're speaking words that have already been said, I'll cough loud. What's your theory? Hello?
Oh.
Cloudberg, you muted yourself.
He's back in traffic.
I probably wouldn't say anything.
Oh, there we go. You're back. Cloudberg, you're back. You muted on us. Can you talk? Can you start?
I think. Let me get into the flow of things. I discussed the Manx in great detail.
Sorry, you broke up again there. I'm going to give you one last chance, and then I'm going to move on. What's your theory about the Manx?
I said you can move on from the Manx because I think you've touched them in great detail.
Oh,
okay.
I'm having trouble forming words.
We can hear that.
Yeah.
Your internet's having trouble forming words.
Mm-hmm. Have issues for
which is kind of two continents now, really, in my head. I'm kind of thinking like the southern Zimbabwe and Dongo Madagascar situation, and then everything happening in the north, which is a whole other thing. But that's what we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about three absolute madmen, which are Abdul Qadir, Omar Mukhtar, and PA. That would be Algeria, Libya, and Nubia. Three civs who have been incredibly entertaining for the game so far. I think we can all agree. Three of my favourite civs to watch, especially Algeria and Libya.
Algeria has a slightly impressive carpet for what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been in a hugely exhausting war for a couple of parts now, so it's not a huge.
Mm-hmm. Their technological level is really quite awful.
Oh yeah, spearmen and warriors all day. It's kind of embarrassing. Put those spears away. There's children.
Hey, they've had things on their mind. They didn't have time to science. They were too busy being invaded constantly and settling.
And surrounded in all of their great generals.
Yes.
That's all that Algeria has done. Get invaded, settle, and spawn great generals.
Well, it's because Algerian great generals can't...
And found a really
unique citadel replacement, which they don't build. Which is why they're still there. There you go. Ta-da, answer. So yeah, I want to talk about
that's kind of sad.
I want to talk about, well, they can build it sometimes. That's the annoying thing, is we have seen them do it, they just don't do it often. Anyway, Algeria, Libya, Nubia, those 3 civs. None of them are doing. They've all been entertaining. I wouldn't say any of them have been doing well. But which one do we think is? Let's start with which one we think is most fucked. Which one do we think is most likely to be eliminated next?
I'm
Libya,
putting my money on Libya.
Okay, so Libya is the main one. Do we want to explain?
So Venice is unless Venice just completely halts naval production right now, Libya is going to lose all its coastal cities. Like, not even joking.
Well, we talked.
So
I disagree, but carry on.
Okay, maybe not Tripoli, but
Yes,
but the others.
I don't think they'll lose Tripoli, but anyway.
And if they're in that situation, it wouldn't take that much to eliminate them. Really.
True.
Also, Algeria has like the benefit of terrain to protect it, with it being in the mountains, while Libya doesn't really have any of those kinds of protection.
Yeah, Benghazi and Mankoura, I believe, are their only current 2 inland cities, and Songhai could take either pretty quick. Well, I say that Songhai should have taken Benghazi already, but and I think you're right. I think Libya are the most likely to be eliminated, even if I don't think necessarily that I would even count them out of a comeback story yet. But speaking of which, who do we think is most likely to perform the comeback of a century?
I think Algeria might actually pull something off, because Songhai, I really like them, but for the past few parts they've been a bit disappointing. And if they continue to stagnate, I think that a coalition war between Benin and Algeria and basically any of Songhai's neighbors might be enough to let Algeria take some cities back and rebuild.
I was going to say essentially the same thing, that if Songhai gets bogged down with Benin again and Algeria at least techs up to like composite bowman or something, then they would have a chance to take cities from Songhai again. And that would be pretty badass.
What about, hear me out. Libya resist Venetian ships. Venice make peace.
How?
Venice make peace way quicker than we're expecting. Or they flip cities with the ships, but then Libya flip them back with their land army. Libya rebuild their navy to a reasonable size because they did appear to like building a navy. Libya declare war on the Moors. What happens next?
Libya declares war on who?
The Moors.
Nothing will happen.
You don't think anything would happen? You don't think anything would come of that? You don't
I don't
think
think anything will happen.
Well, I think that's a darn
too small of a gap. A medium navy. I mean, maybe. Like, this is CVR. Anything could happen.
There's only one.
They could just ship an entire army and just be like, "Yo, what's up?" And then just constantly park units. Howdy, stranger.
Iroquois have already hit an ideology. There's no saying Libya won't hit paratroopers next.
Right.
So let's do that the final chain of the 3. Then Nubia. How are we feeling about Nubia's next couple of parts? Where are their best moves from here? They are still at war with Libya, I'll remind you.
I've been robbed.
They should try to take Derna before Venice can.
Nubia is basically a sandwich, and it is a sandwich that has been made but with too strong of a panini press. All that cheese is everywhere. They're screwed. Easily the lowest of the continent, even lower than Libya.
Interesting. Aaron, who's obviously chatting with us as he usually does, he thinks they're the most likely to make a comeback. He thinks that they have a chance of taking out Minoa and then leaping with their navy to the Ottomans into Czech.
I don't think they're going to take out Minoa, but he does have a point in that they have the most technologically advanced army of the 3.
I don't think
people are crediting. Well, no, I was making that point. And also that Palmyra, as much as they're hyped up, are not going to be able to get enough units across the Red Sea and through the Sinai Peninsula at the same time to actually capture any cities.
Yeah, Palmyra, I think, probably going to stay in Asia for the time being. I mean, we saw, again, not to bring comparisons to Mark II, but we did see good old Israel and Ayyubids have about 1,000 wars with nothing happening, where the Sinai Peninsula was the choke. And so, yeah, I would probably count out anything too interesting happening there. I'm actually more interested to see if Palmyra...
The Nile doesn't have a city on it.
Yeah, it does. What are you talking about?
Not there's no city on the small one-tile gap between Middle East and Africa. I believe that's the Nile. I'm completely
Suez
idiotic
Canal,
right now.
dude.
Suez, Jesus.
The Nile is the river.
I'm tired.
The longest
Okay.
river in the world.
All right. Well, either way, that
one-tile Nile.
Jesus Christ. Regardless, I think with that being there. Yeah, with that not being there, rather, units can cross. There is ways. I don't think it's likely. In fact, I don't put it above 40% chance. But I put it at 40% chance.
Right. While we're on the topic of canals, I was very disappointed to see that the Suez Canal was cancelled this part because this game because it's now impossible to settle unless a city gets raised, by which I mean Kerma or Gurnia. But can I draw your attention to the St. Petersburg area, Luna? Because there's a canal that is far more exciting than the Suez Canal.
Oh yeah, this one.
The Korean
I want to
Canal.
see this one.
It takes 3 cities to be settled in the perfect spots. Literally, you can't go one the other way, or a city will be too close. And so far, we are 2 out of the 3 of the way there. With
Prussia wanting to make everyone upset right now.
To be settled. Yeah, Prussia are the only ones who. Well, Prussia and Sami, obviously. Sami need to settle it.
Well, if Prussia settles it, then Sami needs to just take
Prussia
it.
Can't settle. Prussia can't settle it because the AI won't settle cities next to another civ's borders. So Prussia won't settle that Canal City now. Only the Sami can do it. But oh god, I hope they do. I did place the resources very kind of strategically to try and encourage them to set, because they don't like settling on resources either. So I tried to place the resources strategically that they might actually do it, and we are 2 out of 3 on the way there. So I'm really, really hoping we get that.
That's amazing.
And that is a
huge strategic advantage too.
Oh yeah, because the Sami Navy is so concentrated in the White Sea in the north there. So if they built that canal, they could bring it all. It's 3 different choke points, but they could bring it all the way through to the Baltic to start controlling that theater as well. It would be amazing. But
yeah, I'm looking at the resources
now.
That. Wow, top tier. That's amazing.
I'm really, really hoping they do it.
Honestly, it's worth it. You should do that for all canals, except not.
Well, I did do it for Suez as well, but I mean, I tried to do the resources there for Suez as well, but fucking Nubia fucks it, so fuck Nubia.
That's why you gave me Nubia in the lottery thing.
In the sweepstakes, yeah.
Yeah, sweepstakes. Yep.
Does anyone notice Muscovy has 4 settlers in this view right now? Where are they even going to put them?
Imitating Russia.
2 choices the Western City and 2 choices the Eastern City. The only city for which there is only 1 choice is the Middle City that is still unsettled.
Jesus Christ, Muscovy is long.
Yeah, Muscovy's a long
Muscovy.
That's like Ivan was like, build 1 road. What do you mean? Just build 1 road. But sir, what about other cities? Ignore them. Build 1 road.
Muscovy has the least appealing shape on the cylinder right now. I'm gonna say. And the most appealing.
Can confirm. I'm pretty certain that Spherical Melon is actually on suicide watch right now, in which he is going to slide down into sewage because we don't talk about death on this channel. We are good boys.
The most appealing shape, really intuitively, is another long boy, which is the Kamuks.
That is the hug.
It's like a little pretty arc. It is a pretty hug, isn't it? But hey ho.
Here we go. It's off to work we go. All right. So, anything else in Africa? We've traveled across the entire place.
I want to talk about Madagascar, my friend.
Okay, the doomed nation.
Somebody has to talk about them, so it's going to be us. And that's what's happening.
The best
Ranavallona's Marina Empire. She has now settled pretty much every island in the area. She's got the Comoros, she's got the Mauritius, Reunion, the Seychelles, the other islands near the Seychelles that are part of the Seychelles but aren't called the Seychelles, whose name I can't remember. So she pretty much controls that neck of the Indian Ocean now. No one's going to be settling a Koi city and building a navy to right. No, that area is Madagascar's. So I'm wondering what their game is from here. What do we think they will do? Well, nothing. But what do we think they could do to
Okay, so hear me out on this. If Ranavalona were to get Compass very soon, and they could take coastal cities from Zimbabwe, assuming Zimbabwe hasn't also researched it.
Aaron, get on the stats. Get on the science watch.
I think that in the future, as Ranavalona gets access to more deep seafaring ships, she could have a really big impact on the Maratha up to the north.
So, yes, so Madagascar should beeline astronomy and then first take the Seljuk Maldives. I can't believe that's a thing. How am I saying these words? Anyway.
The Seljuk Maldives, yeah.
I feel Maratha's gonna take the Seljuk Maldives first, and then they're gonna come over and kick Madagascar's butt, though.
I think Madagascar is just too well defended of an island to ever be taken until maybe, information era.
Till planes.
I agree with you, but I also don't think they have enough to break out of Madagascar besides their small holdings they already have. Maybe they can cause trouble in the Seljuk Maldives if it doesn't go to Maratha. Maybe they can attack Beta Israel and give them a run for their money, but I don't see them capturing anything from Beta Israel or Maratha. And I just see them being this large rump state in the middle of the ocean. That's just there. They're powerful, but they're not powerful enough to break things.
To build a huge navy, so we could be seeing Madagascar could be making the maps for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem
is I'm gonna go for just a second, so the map will not be moving. Just as a warning.
That's no problem.
I need to do something super quick. 10 minutes.
That's absolutely
fine. So let's stare at Madagascar. Excitement.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Wait, just move us to the next area and then go.
Okay. What's the next area?
It's gonna be Kazakhstan. So move to Kazakhstan.
Done. There we go. I'll be back in 5.
See you soon. I actually want to take a question while Luna's away from the Twitch chat. I was watching the Twitch chat and there was about 3 questions I wanted to take, and then it logged me out of Twitch, and now I can't see those questions again. But so if anyone has the Twitch chat open and can see all of them, that would be great. But I do remember this.
So Spencer. Oh yeah. Spencer asked,
"What's?"
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go first. We'll do Spencer one because I can remember Greg's. Okay. I can't remember Spencer's.
Spencer asked, "What's your opinion on Libya's capital and holy city being religiously converted?"
Oh yes, Nubia, who are at war with Libya, I'll remind you, converted Tripoli to Ammonism. It's great for my lore map.
How did they get
Mokhtar based in Derna at the
a
moment,
religious unit over there without Libya
God
capturing
knows,
it?
Right? Somebody has to watch the video and see what the fuck happened there. But it is definitely Nubia's religion. Here's the thing. Sunni is now spread kind of far and wide enough that they don't need that holy city to be constantly pumping out Sunni faith to kind of keep expanding the religion. So I don't think it'll have too much of a difference in the long term. But what I do think is it will let Nestorianism expand a little bit further, probably get even more of a foothold in Europe, because the Moors are now solidly Nestorian, I should say. It's also a big sign that Ammonism, which is one of the least kind of growing religions on the whole cylinder, it's a sign that Nubia is going to kind of invest resources into spreading that the hard way, if you like, not just natural growth, but sending out missionaries and great prophets to spread it forcefully. So that's, I'm going to say apostles then, that's Civ 6. So that's fun. Hopefully we'll see. I would love it if we had Ammoniism as, rather than being kind of having an organic shape, it just popping up here and there on the map from where it kind of, we had outbreaks of it basically wherever Nubia were choosing to send missionaries that day. That said, I also don't want that because it's also so hard to see on the map. You have to really squint to see Ammoniism. It's an awful colour. But hey ho. So yeah, that's my takes. I don't know if anyone else has any opinion. Cool. So we'll move on to the question I think was offered by Greg, which was which theatre do you guys see being the most interesting?
So far,
I think.
Yeah, thus far in the whole game, which theatre, so which region has been the most interesting?
China.
I'm going to say Europe.
Okay, China. We'll start with China. Well, let's start with China. Who said China?
I did.
Hit us.
So China, ever since the start of the game, it's been a bloodbath for basically every civ except for the Qin and the Qing. But what happened is the way that the way that the fortunes of civs can like turn on a dime, because like we all wrote Shikoku off after Korea just took back Pyongyang, and then suddenly
this miracle miracle war with Canton.
Oh, you've gone quiet.
Good. Oh.
There was a buzzing sound, and then your voice dropped. I can barely hear you.
I think you've got some weird.
Oh, how about this?
There we go. You're back. Yeah.
That's better.
So, Shikoku basically was written off, and then let's say they make this comeback, but at the same time, Korea comes up onto Japan, and so basically the entire East Asian theater.
So when you said
is up in
China, you
flux.
meant Japan is the most interesting theatre. You meant Japan and Korea.
Yeah, but I consider them part of the Greater China region anyway.
Right. Okay. The Greater China co-prosperity. Well, controversial political statements aside, who said Europe? Was that M?
Yeah, that was me.
Why Europe?
Well, Europe has always been a crowded area, and it's always been, so there's always going to be that bloodbath very quickly. And we originally thought that Czechia was going to be the cause of that bloodbath very early on, and it's turned out...
Czechia are Poland.
Yeah, and it's turned out they are the recipient of the bloodbath far more of the time.
Yeah. No shit. Well, I would say, for me, I think I kind of touched on it earlier, but for me the most interesting theatre that I've been watching has been North Africa. I really enjoyed watching Algeria and Songhai, Spa, and I really enjoyed the last couple of parts with Libya having a sudden peak and then suddenly looking incredibly threatened again. And I've enjoyed watching Nubia, so for me it's North Africa, except for Beta Israel. They fucking suck. They're doing better now, but they still fucking suck. In my heart, they fucking suck. So, hey Luna, I can hear you again.
Yep, I'm back.
We didn't even get onto the Kazakhs, so it's all good. But we will now. The Kazakhs, an interesting civ because one that we had obviously number 1 in part 0, as I'm sure you remember, and then we dropped them a little bit over time as we put Uruguay and Zimbabwe up in front, and Kamogs, I should say actually, and then badam, down to about part 20ish, 30s, and then recently they've crept up back into our top 10 and even are kind of making a run for the top 5 now. So yeah, the Kazakhs certainly have kind of the biggest comeback story so far, if we don't count Papua, which we should, but we'll get onto them later. So what do we think about the Kazakhs' last part in particular? Because they had kind of a weird one. They actually didn't quite do as well as we maybe expected them to, and even had a city flipped on the event front, not their own city, I should say. But at the same time, they definitely ended up with a net gain of cities at the end of the part. So yeah, last part for the Kazakhs. Successful or underwhelming?
I'd say successful, but also I'd say that the Kazakhs are kind of blundering their way into a high rank. They lost 2 cities to Parthia in they showed utter incompetence, and they didn't really notice, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
and that's what I predicted from as soon as that happened. A lot of the rankers dropped the Kazakhs way down. I dropped them some, but not as much, and I never had them as low. There are still some rankers that are putting the Kazakhs outside the top 15, and I really don't think they're.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, you, Scissor. I don't think you're watching the same battle royale as the rest of us.
I just think the Kazakhs have a hard ceiling that they just won't be able to cross. And no matter how much they beat the events, the comics are gonna wreck them, in my opinion. And then to the west, I don't think they're gonna be able to expand west.
Why not?
So one problem there is that analysis relies on the assumption that the comics will do a thing.
Yeah. Heavy call. I put to put Kazakhs anywhere outside of the top 5 is straight heresy. I'd put them probably 3rd.
They're my 3rd. No, they're my 4th.
Yeah, I put them 3rd.
Wait, no,
all of their neighbors are comparatively weak. Kamug is doing nothing. They could probably strike down and take Parthia, although Sinak would probably be a bit shaky. I don't see a front of them that would be a losing front, except for some reason Nanette, but I think the tech difference is just too great right now that even Nanette's would be absolutely schlorfled. There's absolutely no way that you should rank them anywhere outside. I see them as being Sibir too, and I'm very confident in this. I don't even know. I completely forget everything in Asia.
I would kind of agree.
So I think, yeah, the Kazakhs could probably take on the Nenettes if they attack them again now. They have their unique unit, the Tolu Batir, the horseman replacement that is, I don't know, it's faster and stronger or something like that. That would overcome the problem that they suffered in the first Nenettes War, which is that they couldn't get through the forests. And with Tolu Batirs just spammed, that's not a problem.
I think I wrote about this in the last power rankings. I kind of find it really bizarre how the Kazakhs really fucked up their wars to the north and south, and yet are doing really well in the east and west. What is it about those cardinal directions that just click? I could see them going left and right, all the way around, and forming a ring around the cylinder, where it's they march through Europe and then take out the Iroquois and the Apache, and the other way they go through northern China.
This
never conquer the Nenettes.
I've seen a screenshot. Someone did a run in it was EU4, I think, as Sweden, and just conquered a straight line all the way to Korea, one province wide. That's what they should do.
I could see it happen.
Kazakhs are their problem is they're playing with a D-pad, which gives them superior precision, but they can't hit left and right and up and down simultaneously. So they struggle. It's just a pure fact. You gotta switch that joystick, boy. Come on.
Oh Christ! No, what they're trying to do is they're not used to the hexagon system in Civ, so they're really good at moving left and right. But they keep trying to move up and down. Don't realize that you got to move up left and up right. They can't get that. It doesn't go in their heads. It's constantly hitting the corner.
I played Civ Civilization Revolution on the freaking disc on the Xbox 360 because I absolutely hated using the joystick. Heavy mood with that problem. I hated going up and down. Yeah,
I know exactly that. Aaron, I've been neglecting my Aaron talk, and I like to check in on Aaron frequently. He mentioned earlier about Madagascar and Zimbabwe, and the situation with Compass. They're both one tech away from Compass, which is Compass. So they both could be researching Compass very soon, which is exciting. And then, which is Caravels, of course. Actually, no, it's not. It's Carrax.
Gallius.
And then we get... Sorry?
And Gallius.
Yes, and Gallius.
Which is
and then,
arguably as important.
When we get the Kazakhs, talking about the Kazakhs, he says they haven't had a comeback because they were never bad. The 2 cities they lost to Parthia were completely inconsequential. And I think that's kind of expanding what you said, Cloudberg. They didn't
pretty much.
They were both city desert cities. I mean, I was actually watching Almaty because I've been watching the population growths with my Google map, and under Parthian puppetry. Now, when you make a puppet city, it doesn't tend to focus on growth anyway. But Almaty literally, until last part, given they conquered it about 4 parts ago, had been on 1 population. It had not grown a single pop until last part when it finally leaped up to 4. Those cities, then they weren't worth keeping. They weren't worth settling as well, I will say.
They were in floodplains, actually, so they probably were worth settling. And the reason
I don't know why it didn't grow then.
Probably it was on gold focus. Because puppet cities are normally default gold focus, and you can't change that.
I never really understand how the AI deals with puppet cities. Like, when you make a puppet city as a player, the AI decides what it builds. Is there 2 separate AIs? Or is it just the same?
I once saw someone post this in our Civ. It was like, Civ shower thought. The AI gets to decide what to build in puppet cities.
Yeah, well, that is kind of it. They just can't build units, which is the obviously limitation. But yeah, weird. Also, yeah, does that mean when you're the human player, the AI could? This is like a techno star nightmare where you puppet a city and the AI of the previous Civ is still controlling it. and just builds like the least useful thing at the time.
Scouts! Nothing but scouts!
They can't build scouts because a unit, but
build a granary. Sell granary. No, can't do that either.
This is some real...
One of my friends trolled, and that's all he did. He built a granary and then immediately sold it, and then built it again and sold it.
Why?
Because he was irrelevant and just wanted to screw around while he was doing other things. He still wanted to be in the game, and I encouraged him to eventually leave, but he did nothing but build a granary and sell it in his second city, which was his new capital.
That's sometimes...
It's amazing how long games, how you can get disheartened from just getting ripped apart. Much like the Golden Horde is right now. Bada boom.
Well,
transition that boy.
We don't need to talk about them because there's nothing to say other than poor guys. I do want to move on to different Civ, though. I want to move on to another contender, actually, because they're kind of more interesting to talk about a lot of the time. And we'll talk about Palmyra. Palmyra have had a great few parts. They're looking beefy at the moment. They've gone solidly into the top 10 for pretty much all the rankers now. And I can't remember exactly where they're going to end up in the rankings that are about to come out, but they are on an upward trajectory. And I think... I kind of want to talk about Palmyra in relation to their neighbours, because we have a lot of Civs who are, in a similar sort of top tier with Civs like Songhai, Civs like Parthia, Civs like even the Kamuks. But I thought I kind of noticed about Palmyra this week that makes them stand out from other Civs is I don't see any Civ in Palmyra that could even stand a chance of curtailing them, that border them. Because Songhai have Benin, who on a good day could definitely take a few cities. The Kamuks have obviously the Chin. The Parthia, feasibly the Kazakhs again. Whereas, who could actually curtail Palmyra now? If you wanted to, if your one goal was to take out Palmyra, which Civ would you want to be playing?
Yeah, actually,
Parthia.
I'd want to.
Uruguay.
Yes. Well, I'd be playing.
Uruguay.
Okay, sure. I'd be playing the very long game, kill the Seljuks, and then suddenly Palmyra has a neighbor that is actually stronger than them. But right now there isn't. Well, they would be if they absorbed the Seljuks and maintained their large army. So there's otherwise, I don't think there's any civ that actually borders Palmyra that could contain them. Even in the hands of a human, Beta Israel could take one city off them. I don't see how any.
I think in the hands of a human, Beta Israel could actually do a lot more. But in the hands of a good human. But I guess we're assuming an AI level of intelligence.
Okay, I have 3 rankings. Easiest, Seljuks, easily. I believe they have the unique unit up. Can't see it.
Oh, you would want to think the Celtics are at war with Palmyra at the moment, so now's their chance to...
Yeah, I know. But like, if I was taking over, like, at this current moment.
Yeah.
The one that would be the most exploitive, but most interesting, would be Oman. And the one that would be a good combination of both is Beta Israel.
Yeah,
probably I'd pick Beta Israel. Just on combination. I'm tired, okay? Combination, Beta Israel. You get a little bit of gimmickness. You have a slightly stronger military. There's not as much units in the nearby vicinity. The battle around Rasafa would be absolutely glorious to witness. And you're dogpiling. So you're all going to be joining.
A combination of Ottomans.
Well, yes, I was going to say Ottomans.
I think there would be a way you could do it.
Interesting. No, it's definitely possible. It's just not an enviable position. Because at the same time, you're also interested potentially in, as a player, you'd probably be interested in attacking Venice. They probably Venice and split wars and just burning down Palmyra. With Ottomans, there's too much priorities. With Beta Israel, Oman, and Seljuks, you have one priority, making it a lot more easier to focus.
Seljuks definitely have Parthia as well. Parthia are number 1 priority for Seljuks.
Oh yeah. I was talking the Ottomans. Ottomans have way too many priorities. They have way too many things around them to do. And crap land to work with. It would definitely be interesting. It'd be fun.
Leaping back into Palmyra's shoes for a moment. The war with the Seljuks. Do we think they'll take Ray?
If they actually commit, yes. But at the moment, they don't seem to have any more units on the Seljuk front than they have anywhere else in their empire. No. In fact, I'd say they have even less.
I wonder why. I wonder why Civ sometimes decide to go to war with nations that they're clearly better than and just go, you know what? Fuck it.
The amount of unique units around Damascus makes me think that Ray would flip.
Mm-hmm.
If they actually move it, but this is AI. So even at best situation, it's only a 60% chance.
Yeah. Okay, well let's move on from Palmyra then. We'll move to South Asia, which is to say the India region. So I keep wanting to call it India, but we have a civ called India, so I'll say South Asia. I think we are going to talk about India, although I think we're sort of more going to talk about Nepal, really. Sorry if there's just loads of noise going on in the background, by the way. That will now cease. Why can't India and Nepal fight wars good? We did see Bangalore fall last part. It's the first Indian, Nepalese, or Marathi city to change hands, full stop.
And it's not even in South Asia.
No, it's up in the Tarim Basin. And it was completely... There wasn't even a single Indian unit protecting it, I don't think, or maybe one. With all this having been said, there's a citadel right on Delhi's doorstep. Nepal should be free to just walk in and take it. So why can't anyone on that subcontinent fight well? And more to the point, if we turn on their AIs and make them suddenly flip into action, all 3 of them, let's say, who would walk away the winner?
Well, Nepal's problem right now is they don't have they just unlocked composite bowmen and they have like 4, and they're not in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might see more from them once they get all their archers upgraded. and actually are able to push on Delhi with them. Because right now they're sending archers and warriors into Delhi, which is being defended by composite bowmen and catapults, and they're just getting slaughtered. They can't touch the city. So
they can't touch this. Where this is Delhi.
Boo!
Guys, it's 2:30 in the morning. You got to cut me some slack.
Okay, fine. You get a soft golf clap. I can't do it because push to talk.
Same here. I'll give you a snap.
So just imagine. Oh, I can't snap because I have like Dorito dust on my fingers because I'm an epic gamer.
I see.
Let me sip my energy drink.
Christ. I was gonna make a cup of tea. So.
Yeah, Doom was a good.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, do we think that? I think India and Nepal are still confusing me because it feels like 3 parts ago we were saying which of the two is going to conquer the other. It's so close, and now we're 3 parts later, and I'm more like, are they ever going to change borders? Do we think that? Do we genuinely think India or Nepal will flip a city in South Asia before another civ comes and conquers them both?
Well, Nepal did take an Indian city in Tibet.
Yeah, so we mentioned Bangalore, but I mean in South Asia then, below the Himalayas.
Honestly, no.
Okay. Bold claim. I mean, thinking about it, when was the first in Mark II flip? When was the first Sri Lanka Mughal city flip? I don't think that was till like part 30. The Mughals took Gyanse from Tibet, but that was basically a free city, as any city Tibet itself is. But I don't think the Mughals or Afghanistan or Sri Lanka flipped a city from each other until someone proved me wrong.
I wish I could. This is the weirdest. This is just the weirdest thing. Like AIs, they declare war and then they're just like, "Hey, what's up? I'm just moving my warrior here. I'm moving back, and then you move it in. You'll move it back. I won't even attack with my city. Look how good of a guy I am."
I think
Portsman's rules.
I think they're just having an agreement not to take anyone's city in South Asia. I think it's just like sacred ground. Like you're not supposed to take cities.
So my apologies, but I have to go eat dinner with the family.
That's so viable.
I will drop out if it's. I probably won't be back before you're done.
That's okay.
But if I am, I'll rejoin.
Well, we will. Thank you very much for joining us, Cloudberg.
Yes.
Hopefully, you don't get caught in traffic on the way to your dinner.
No.
All right, lad.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Okay. Well, on that note, we will move on from South Asia. We will move on to East Asia, if unless there's any objections.
Wait, aren't we going to talk about Maratha?
I don't have. We are, but we're going to come to them. Just you wait. There's a new region for that. As I'm sure you can.
Oh, I see what you did, Dar.
We're going to go to East. And I'm going to start with a confusing civ. I have 2 confusing civs for you. This one that confusing me are the Kamuks. One in part 1. Number 1 in part 3, I believe. Again, tell me if I'm wrong. But since then, they seem to have been stagnating. What is their kind of ideal part 10? Next part, what do you want to see the Kamuks do right off the bat?
Defend from Korea, then go to war with someone.
Do we think Korea has a chance of taking... I think it's Sunud, the city they're attacking? If Luna can kind of pan over to Manchuria.
I don't think they'll take it, but if they do take it, then Kamuks are just continuing to drop in my book.
Yeah, I mean, it would be... I mean, it's another case of the Kazakhs, though. Like, that city doesn't actually mean anything to the Kamuks. They don't need to keep it by any means. For them to still be... If they lose it, on paper, they'll still be as powerful as they were before. But it would just be a real kind of head-in-hands moment. Like, what? You have so much potential. What do you...
The best part 10 for the comics would be if they could declare war on the Qing. The Qing are the weak link in the three big powers of the Qing, and the Kamug. Yeah. And if the Kamug could take that out, I think they could do real well.
A real Mong. I mean, people who have seen the power rankings know that we've been dropping the Qing even quicker than we've been dropping the Kamugs. Faith in the Qing is pretty much expired at this point. We're all fairly agreed by now that the preeminent East Asia power are Qin. We're not going to talk about this episode because I don't think there's too much to say. Yeah, I know what you mean. I think the Kamugs snapping on the Qing would be interesting. What do we think? Hot take, because I don't. What do we think about a Kamug Kazakh war?
I think it would go well for the Kamug.
Okay.
And I'd want to see it. But Jamaica has been so passive this entire game.
Nice archers there, boy.
Maybe it's just a curse of the region, just to be like Yakutia.
Well, thanks to the Yakutia, right, though. Kamug should be the the Mongols shit. Yeah. I see the problem. Well, Aaron says the Kamugs should attack the Evenks because the Evenks suck and have lots of cities. And everyone hates them as well. Which is all true.
Yep.
And it would be
it's objectionably the best plan. But it's going to be difficult terrain and it's going to be a slog.
Yeah, it's full of forests, it's full of rivers, it's full of hills.
But I think
the kind
they
of
could.
terrain that a bunch of horsemen aren't going to do very well with. So I do wonder if that would be. I think that could very well be a meat grinder that ends up being very disappointing for everyone involved. But that's just how I see it. It's worth saying, actually, we talk about Forgy's law quite a lot, which is that it's an old law named after a very early power anchor, Forgotten the Queen, aka Forgy. I'm sure some of the new people here don't know him, but he was a very iconic member of the community in the early days. And Forgy's law is that the more hype a war is, the more hype war declaration, the less interesting the war will actually turn out to be.
I mean, that turned out true for the conflict in Mark II.
Well, it's usually because you have two. The conflict was a big one in particular. It's usually because you have two civs who are both incredibly strong and powerful and right next to each other, and everyone wants to see them go to war, and then they go to war and the inevitable happens. They grind against each other. Neither can make any progress and they peace out. But yeah, I was just going to say, Forgy's law was never evoked more stronger than in the conflict, which was a war between the Mongols and Sibir, which everyone really was looking forward to and then went absolutely nowhere. I do almost think the Kamugs might fall into that same trap of having a nice strong army, a nice big core, and just two good neighbors and two shitty terrain to really make anything out of it. Which is a shame, because I like the Kamugs. I like Jamuka. I like obviously good friend, the person who made the mod as well, Fiona. I do have high hopes for them, and I certainly don't think they're out of the top 10 yet. But, at least I think they're about 10th-ish. We'll see. We'll see. I think their ideal part 10 is a war with the Kazakhs. I'm going to say it. I think that would be their best move. A really committed war against the Kazakhs. Although it might leave them vulnerable to a Qing counterattack, but the Qing don't seem to want to fucking declare war on anyone, so who knows. Anywho, another confusing civ in East Asia, which we will move on to. And this one's confusing, I think, for more interesting reasons. We talked a little about them earlier. It is Shikoku. Here we have a civ that we'd kind of, again, as Scissor kind of summarized for us earlier, we'd written them off after a Pyongyang invasion didn't go very well. Then they declared war again, just a moment later, pretty much as soon as they could. Conquered Pyongyang for good this time, made peace with Korea, and then went, bam, on the offensive against Canton. Nicked Ba'arin off them just as Canton captured it. And then immediately went and this part, incredibly, with Marathi help, conquered Macau, which we all it took me by surprise. Did it take everyone else by surprise?
Sadly.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, Scissor. This isn't going to be a painful bit for you.
How? I'm amazed, but at the same time, how? What does it have? Like 3 promotions, 2 to attacking cities, and 1 so it can move. Like what
they've just
is
taken
that?
Pyongyang and taken Batarin, so that their navy probably is pretty advanced. Because I don't think they lost many ships in those battles because they weren't that difficult. It's entirely possible that they're just promoted the hell out. I think that's a good call. But in the same stroke, in the same part, Korea, out of nowhere, settled 2 cities on the northern coast of Honshu. Stopping Shikoku settling more than 1 or 2 more cities, really, on the island. While Shikoku do now have a settler area, it's still on their home island. It's still 1 tile from the capital, so it'll be a while before that settler gets anywhere. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Korea already have another settler on the way to Japan as well. So, Shikoku. I mean, I've summarized the situation, but like, what the fuck do you do with them? Where are they ranked currently? I don't know. I can't remember where they're actually going to be ranked. But where would you personally put them?
31.
Right in the middle
as heck.
I will say, Luna, you aren't a ranker, so you don't regularly do rankings, and you probably don't realize quite how many shit tier Civs there are now. So I would agree with you, and then in my actual ranking, I think I have them about 23 or like 22 or something because
it's kind of amazing how we're starting to see so many civs boil up to the point of being this civ is going to do really well, and how so many are like, they exist.
There aren't many I'd count out yet though. Oh, Andy's here. Hey, Andy.
Andy's Randy.
Andy's here, but
his opinion's quite handy.
It usually is on China. He's gone again. Oh well, bye, Andy.
Sadness. But yeah,
nice to speak to you.
Shikoku. How you rank them? Throw of dart. I don't really see. They need to settle Hawaii first. They need to spread out. They need to grow a huge army, and they need to coalition Korea. That's their game plan. Attacking.
They won't sell Hawaii for a while because they don't have astronomy. They need astronomy before they can send settlers over.
I kind of wish we went with the route of giving them ocean sailing immediately, but oh well.
Oh, definitely not. Andy, are you muted? I don't think we can hear you. I can see his green circle pop up occasionally, but I can't hear his beautiful, beautiful somber voice.
Sadness.
Oh, he's gone silent again now. Well, we'll keep you updated.
We pointed him out. He's shy. But yeah.
Sorry.
They need to be a naval powerhouse, or they're going to get swept away. And
they are a naval powerhouse.
Call a Mark II event, but they're going to be equally as prevalent of a powerhouse in the oceans as Australia, and they're going to be settling, I imagine, a city close to each other past Renaissance and the like.
What, you think Shikoku?
Yep. I expect Shikoku and Australia to have a city adjacent to each other.
I will say
early industrial.
I can think of one roadblock that might get in the way there, but we'll come to that. Yeah, in fact, we'll come to it now. We'll talk about Sulu, and we'll talk about Papua as well, because I want to talk about them in the same breath. When we kind of did our last PR cast, I think we mentioned, either that one or the one before, we talked about Sulu and Papua and how they were both these big science turtles that weren't doing anything. And now we've come on a few parts later. That still definitely holds true for one of them. Sulu probably even doubled down on that. They've only settled one more city on Borneo. They've still not really declared any interesting wars yet. They did go to war with Canton, but didn't really commit to sending an actual navy. And more to the point, holy God, did they science turtle. They're by far the most advanced nation on the cylinder now. They are just rocketing ahead in science. Oh, it's all thanks to that religion as well, which is really helping them in that front. But Papua, on the other hand, they were the lesser of the two science turtles. They were a little behind Sulu on science, but also really behind on production cities. And I don't have to tell you what they did. They They kind of shocked us all, and rose up about half of the bleeding rankings. So yeah, that would be of course their invasion of Australia, the conquering of Perth and Darwin.
The science top tiers are Madagascar, weirdly enough, and Uruguay, Zimbabwe, Métis. The city powerhouses, Sami, Moor, Sulu, all within attack of each other. Because
okay, so they're all.
But so they're up there, but they would be one of the highest with low cities if it wasn't for Madagascar.
Yeah.
Why is Madagascar doing so good scientifically?
They've got big high pop cities. They've got
they have 169 science. Nice. While having so little cities.
Well, they don't have that few. They've got like 10. They have more than you think.
That is true. A lot of island boy.
Sulu only have 5, so it really is different, and they only settled one of them last part. Anyway, getting off topic, Sulu and Papua. I'm interested. Which one would you rank higher at the moment? We've got the kind of on paper stronger one in Sulu with the bigger navy and the better science, and then the one that actually has impressed us, Papua, with the conquering of northern Queensland. So who's ranked higher currently in your opinions?
Papua.
Scissor, you start. Papua. Explain.
So, Papua have shown to me that they can mount an invasion that is like effective. Like Sulu, when they invaded Canton, they sent a bunch of ships, but like they kind of just like said hi and went back. It seems to me that Papua has more incentive to like attack the northern Australian cities, especially that one right to the west of Darwin. I forget the name. Perth, I think. But if
Perth.
Yeah, I think Papua can definitely take that, and with that, basically lock down Northern Australia. With Sulu, however, I think they're just in a position where they get trapped in between Taungu and Maratha, where they just cannot expand downwards without having to expose themselves to the continental powers of Asia.
Very. I dare I say my opinion has slightly altered. I put it a narrow Sulu victory. I put it as a straight tie. I don't see any of them being superior because one has more opportunities but less late game potential. One has better later game potential but worse opportunities currently. Who's gonna win?
Wait, which way around are those?
Sulu has better stats, but they have crappier opportunities due to an overall weaker navy. Remember, their unique unit is a trireme replacement.
Yeah.
And why do I forget their name? Papua have landhold in Australia and opportunities on their beacon, but they're still basically their main island is basically their core. They don't really have too much in terms of yield. Or even good expansion opportunities that aren't war.
Well, they do have 2 very high pop cities there. New city. All right.
If they declare war now, Australia wins.
Who do you think wins between a Papua and Sulu war right now?
Well, if we were forced to choose between them, Sulu only because it would because Papua needs to fight now. They need to strike now. If they are distracted, they are weaker, they are going to get rolled over. And that's why I say the winner between Sulu and Papua, that's Australia, or potentially even the Murray. As little games as you can make in that situation.
No, not the
They
Murray.
take a tile! Everyone, round of applause.
I will say, before we move on from Sulu, Emsaday's lighting up.
No, that was just me snapping, because I can't clap.
Sulu,
Same.
We will talk about just before we move on from Sulu, Aaron has sent me the effective science table, which is the science table when you account for the city.
Neat. Let me look.
Oh, sorry. Second is still Uruguay, despite how many cities they have, which is depressing. Third is Papua. Fourth is Maratha. Fifth is Australia. So that region is doing very well in techs. Obviously, Maratha are part of that region now. We are going to talk about Maratha.
Oh boy.
I have it down as the Malays. That is, of course, this war between Maratha and Australia. Australia declared war on Maratha, but didn't really send much of a navy there. And what I'm interested in is, do we think Australia will follow it up at some point? Do we think Maratha could capitalize on the Australian war?
I expect total stalemate. Not as well. I'm surprisingly impressed with Marathan units moving in. They are very, very diligently reinforcing it with the necessary navy. However, I don't think either sides have enough of a window of opportunity, be it a 2-tile choke point near Geelong, or the really thin gap between Sulu and the lovely settle of Tongu, basically cucking that whole war.
Yeah.
Overall, with that war, I say bomb. Okay, I'm not even going to continue that. You know that pun. It's bad. Blammo. Bammo. I don't need...
Well, this is kind of what I wanted to move on to.
You see nothing.
Does anyone think that Tongu could capitalize on this war?
Tongu could. Also, I hit enter again. Good job, me.
Oh, yay. Let's see what happens.
We get it once. Yay. Spoilers. Haiti get a paratrooper. Take the Uruguayan capital.
Are we actually watching this? Because I haven't even gone to the stream.
No, we're not. Plot 1, it also crashed. Because I quickly hit the menu, and there it goes. Goodbye.
Cry, baby, cry.
Rip.
Will it be up? Find out.
I'm
so incompetent at this shit.
All
right.
Aaron said he thinks the Australia-Maratha war is about as relevant as the Zimbabwe-Benin war. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I probably want too much out of it. But let's take it away from this war then, and let's extrapolate now to a future war. Because if we assume that this war goes nowhere, well, guess what? Maratha are here to stay in Indonesia, as are Australia, as are Tongu, I suppose. So do we think that the Maratha claim on Sumatra and Malaya, do we think that is a pipe dream and something that will become Australian or Suluese or Tonguese whenever the heart takes them? Or do we think Maratha have a serious chance of establishing themselves in this region in the future?
The move of the military suggests that they see interest, but I don't see much potential. Their islands are pretty gated off by mountains, so yields are going to be, well, they're going to be all right, because it's still Jungu. It's still jungle with a little bit of resources. They're going to be nice cities. It's just, is it going to be a staging front? Very unlikely. If anything, they would have to put a substantial force and use it as a front, which I don't think the AI is going to be able to do. Do I want to see it? And is it more likely than not? Probably. Could we see a really intense, super long war between Tonga and Australia? Part 20? I could see it.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. We do have a lovely control of the Malay Strait, of course, from Maratha, which before ocean travel comes around, it's going to be very. Obviously, ocean travel will be there in like 3 parts still. Okay, well, we'll move on from Southeast Asia. There is only one more point on my agenda that I want to talk about, and it's our miscellaneous question of the week. Before we go on there, does anyone have the Twitch chat up? Are there any other questions from the audience? Because I don't have the chat up.
I have the chat up.
PR estimate?
Estimate as to when it's going to come out. It's like, I think 2/3 done. So, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going to get back to work on it. I've done my slides, but I'm going to do all the slides
I'm gonna do some.
aren't done.
I'm gonna do
and just go
tonight.
for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Unfortunately,
do a few more as well.
Unfortunately, I'm quite tired. I would definitely
Luna,
contribute, but then I'd probably call Martha.
You're not a power ranker, and I would never let you do that. Never let you write for us. Ever.
I have ghostwritten a couple.
Yeah, well, I'm the fucking second in command now.
And then I printed up the wrong resolution, so you can obviously tell which one's mine. I do declare.
I'm probably gonna do some writing as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe tonight if we're really fucking good, but definitely tomorrow. You won't be waiting until Tuesday. Are there any other questions from the chat?
Can you share the effective science list from?
Well, that's on you, Luna. Can you get that up?
Oh, give me a bit. It's in the power ranking chat, right?
It's in the PRCast on the Power Ranking Discord, yeah. If you can get that.
It's coming.
Cool. Any other questions in the meantime?
PR application estimates, lol.
I was talking today with JM Angelo about that. That brings a good point, though. I do want to mention it's not too late to apply. It's nearly too late to apply, is what I'd say. So if you do still want to, if you are still thinking about applying to be one of us, you get to talk on this podcast. You get to power rank every week. You have to, actually. It's the fucking rules. No, you do get weeks off. If you want to do the write-ups, if you want to get involved in all of that, send an application. We're looking for two roles, and I'll be honest, we've had a lot of applications, more than we did for the wave of slots we did last time round. But that's not a huge shock because that was before CBRX had started up again, so it was a little deader. But yeah, if you fancy doing what we do and getting to chat shit with us on this podcast, then yeah, send your application in. There is still time. I think James M. Angelo, head honcho, is going to be sending out the basically the interview questions. Start sending them out tomorrow, I think. So look forward to that. And then me, Cloudberg, and JM will read all your shite-ass write-ups. No, I'm sure they'll be lovely. Your lovely write-ups and pick two successful lucky applicants. So good. End talk. I should say, if no one knows, Clouds and I are the second in command now because Glai went to sleep for a while. He's gone to sleep. He's gone for hibernation, Glai. To go study at uni.
Note the sheet that is on the stream right now does not have all of the civs. I'm just showing what I've received. I imagine the other ones are either being worked on or just weren't screen capped. So
what,
I'll see if I can get it up on the screen. The effective science
table.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that Aaron has sent to the Discord has all of them.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, well, let me scroll. Oh my God, Canada.
Yeah, Canada are last, obviously.
Let me just be despairful for a little bit.
The lowest one that you should give a shit about.
Czech Republic, second to last. Wow.
Obviously, you've only got two. Yeah, the lowest one you should give a shit about is Avanx, which isn't a huge shock if you looked at their religion's beliefs, because they're basically just like minus in science for other useless benefits.
Culture, I think.
So,
I am definitely going to be buffing that next season.
It's kind of funny, but
I'm probably gonna make it -1 science, not -3 or whatever it is.
Aztec science.
Even -1 is pretty bad, but Aztec I don't know. I could make it negative science plus food, but I'm very unlikely to be keeping the majority of the religion mod overall.
Yeah, a lot of it's cool.
A lot of it's really cool. I didn't realize all of the memes from like obscure things that came through. Narco's gift, stuff like that.
A couple of weird ones.
There's a lot of weird things. I definitely wanna hit the books and give myself a little bit more time and make something quite a bit more comprehensive. Maybe taking actual beliefs from actual religions that exist in the real life world rather than.
Well, one of the Reformation beliefs is Operation Snow White, which is a Scientology thing. But that's really
there's
cool.
two references to it. There's that and televangelism has the exact same effecks in the code. I'm an absolute idiot.
Well, firstly, I think Scientology-related beliefs are fine because they are real life, and Scientology is officially a religion. But secondly, I would also say televangelism is. I would not associate that with Scientology first. I'd associate that with like Southern baptism and shit.
Yeah, baptism. That's quite true.
Anyway, with no further questions, I assume we will move to our final question of the day, our miscellaneous question, always the fun ones. And we have a thought experiment for everyone who's left here. Feel free to take part in the comments as well. I want somebody watching the comments to see what they say, so we can read out some answers from them. Good. Our miscellaneous question of the day is: you get the power before part 10, so in turn 140, you get the power to double a single civ's military score and production. Which one do you pick and why?
Oh, I've never read this, so as a mod creator, I don't want to be biased because I don't want to increase 2 to 4. What I do want to do is I kind of want to wow, that's tough. I'm gonna say Selknam probably.
I was thinking Selknam. I was just thinking them. You read my mind.
I want to stop Uruguay. Even the mod creator is like, oh my god, if they win, that effectively he's going to be blamed for. His code is going to be blamed for it. It's amazingly well written code, and it's amazing for Royale, and I'd love to see it on a potentially larger scale with a little bit more leeway given towards Civ's unique natures. But it's amazingly well written code, and I'd hate for it to get dogpiled. I want to see something good, and you gotta admit, if anyone would take over the Uruguayan land, I'd rather it be Selknam, made by Grant, our lovely boy. Who,
yes.
I'm happy that he got in, even though the Selknam that we have is not on the workshop.
No,
I definitely would love to see it. Yeah, also, it would help their absolute crap land as well.
I think what we should take back. I think what we should take from Techno's Uruguay is that a mod of Techno where he just did some not Uruguay's version specifically, but some AI fixes or AI cheats almost that would apply to every single civ would make for a really, really interesting dynamic. I would look forward to seeing. We
would see. The thing is, it would remove uncertainty in the higher tiers. We can go on this conversation for a while. I'll keep it like this. It removes uncertainty, but it increases explosiveness. And this is a show, and in a way, I wish I could see it like almost like a performance. That's why I chose the TV motif. I was the one who came up with majority of the ideas in its early phase. Yeah, I came up with the episodes mechanic because I wanted it to be a show and something that would be very entertaining. So if we could see more bloodbath instead of, oh hey, they flipped.
Well, that's
a random event city, and there's your part.
That more kind of industrial area that we'll start to see the real bloodbaths come up, I think. But anyway, to claw it back to the question.
Can confirm.
I see your point about Selknam. I will say, I think if Selknam's military doubled, it would still be significantly smaller than Uruguay, sadly, although in a more concentrated form. Emsade, do you have any suggestions?
Well, I have the Twitch chat up, so I'll get to them after I say my piece.
Yeah, sure.
The thing I would want to see is the Aztecs, as they've been very quiet, but still they're trying to do something.
Well, they're trying to.
I almost thought I pulled up 10 turns ahead. Holy crap.
God. They really didn't.
Oh, that would have been really bad.
Well, you could just quit.
I did that once. I was taking images on turn 150, and oh my lord. I almost posted it to I did post it to Patreon, but I deleted it like a second after and destroyed it.
Well done.
No one was online. I'm so happy.
Anyway.
Yeah, no one saw it. But yeah, there was a chance.
To claw it away from Luna's idiocy.
Sorry about that.
Talk about Luna's idiocy all day. They didn't really try with the Apache, but they are trying with Venezuela. But I think it's a good argument. It'd be interesting to see what tougher Aztecs could do.
And so in the chat we have Timur Tabor 123 is saying Papua.
Papua is obviously Tim, fellow power anchor. Papua is definitely fair. Obviously, that would change the dynamic of Australia. I think we'd probably ranking them higher than Australia at that point, if they really had that. If it was concentrated in Navy, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to watch.
SD Spencer is saying Sulu because 1, they can actually use it, and 2, I'm bias.
Well, bias is fine. Yeah, I would say bias is absolutely fine.
Alternatively, 4 Zia Scouts is a joke.
That's a good one.
Sir Brendan's joke answer is Minoa. They won't even be able to use it. And their first thing was Haiti because Venezuela will be too powerful if not a constant check. And then they changed it to the Apache.
Well, I think the Apache is a really good answer. Apache is one of the ones I was going to say. I think the Apache would provide a really interesting counter to the Métis, and but also, if we double the military and double the production, they'd probably be, they'd be stronger on paper than Haida, but the Haida would probably have more expansion opportunities in the form of the Yupik. So I think they'd be on a kind of a level there as well. I would say the Aztecs, and I would say the Poverty Point and the Aztecs would suddenly look very outclassed.
Yep.
But
Saro Sedsetio is saying the Congo because got to put pressure on Zimbabwe.
Ndongo would be a good shout. I thought about Ndongo as well actually, and then I kind of thought about Selknam instead as a more pressing concern.
So here's a question for all PRs. If there was a generic Civ with Techno's AI for Uruguay, I'm assuming, would it still be OP? I'm gonna say yes.
Depending on its location, I would say yes.
Uruguay's abilities aren't what make it OP. It's the AI.
Yep, it's the ability to actually force production towards units, it picking Liberty and having the land to do so, it prioritizing techs that it deems important. That is incredibly powerful, and give even a little bit of human logic to a AI with deity bonuses, and the world will be on fire. Yes, I would put it as a solid yes.
So here's a question that I had. Original pre-nerf Uruguay, but they play on a lower difficulty setting than everyone else. At what point, what's the lowest you can go, and they still win the Civ Battle Royale?
Anything below Dadian, I think they would be at even or worse. And that, in my opinion, it's an improvement, but deity is so ridiculous. They made it so stupidly powerful because they were like, no one is going to be able to beat this. Meanwhile, people like Quill and Marbazier exist who laugh at that proposition.
Right. Luna, most people can beat deity. Most people have played.
Well, I mean, like if you cheese, I'm talking like a standard, like choosing Morocco or something like that, or a Civ that doesn't have I'm going to rush a very specific strategy. Korea, somehow getting great library, for instance. Sometimes you see it with that. Actually, Venice is pretty decent at deity.
I will say I'm not that familiar with the drop off between deity and the other. I'm not that familiar with the kind of difficulty settings between deity and prince, say, because I don't really play them. I don't play Civ for Civ to be. I don't like playing Civ for its difficulty. I like playing Civ for the world building, so I don't really play higher than like Prince the highest.
Yes.
So I don't really know those upper echelons of the difficulty settings that well. So I'm going to bow out of the question, I'm afraid. I did want to say my answer to my own question because I think this is kind of controversial, but I would like to see an improved Muscovy. So I think Muscovy have a really interesting place on the continent. They've got kind of enough room to kind of keep settling for a bit. Their borders are kind of powerful though. They've got obviously a strong Prussia, a strong Sami, and a strong Ishgoths. But Sami and the Goths in particular, they both have big areas of weakness and big moments of weakness. Areas that just aren't as protected as the others. And I think a powerful Muscovy could do something really, really interesting, and yet kind of be held in check by whichever civ they didn't go to war with. So if Muscovy went to kind of pick on the Goths while the Kazakhs were also helping, I think that would leave them open to a Prussia-Sami coalition or something. Whereas if they went to war with the Sami, again, Prussia and then the Goths from their core could still wreck them. But in any case, I think they would have a really kind of 50-50 shot as to whether they could go on to become a huge contender or fizzle out. But at the moment, there's not a chance that their stats are just too low. They're not going to achieve a great deal. So yeah, Muscovy. For in terms of making the area interesting, I think Muscovy would be my call. But in any case,
yeah, that would definitely change up the map. Honorable mentions for me, Qing.
With a G.
S would be Qing with G.
Yes.
Qing Gug.
Their stats are already fine.
For North America, Aztecs would make it interesting. For South America, Selknam would make it bearable.
Yeah, I think we're all agreed on
with Africa, no. Honestly, it's a write-off. I would probably go Ndongo. Everywhere else, I don't really have an opinion. Venice would be semi-interesting, but pretty boring.
I'd want to
Sami would be
in
hilarious,
Africa.
but boring.
I'd want to see the Benin.
Yeah, I just said
Benin would be nice.
Benin. And I think Benin could get there. But if Benin
could sweep Songhai with double military, yeah, I could see that.
What I'll say about Benin is I don't know why, but their population growth is fucking awful. They're not even in low pop area. Like they've got like jungle, which is 2 food. They've got obviously the desert cities, but they've got floodplains in some of the cities, which is obviously very high food. But their cities just won't fucking grow, and I don't know why. Other than their capital, which is like I'm thinking like 18ish. So that's kind of annoying. I don't know. They won't really get high production or higher science and shit if their cities don't grow. But yeah, I think if I could double anyone's population, it would be Benin. But anywho, if there's no other questions, then I think we can wrap up if that's all right with you guys. Thank you very much for listening. As a final reminder, if you want to send your application to JM Angelo to be a power anchor, you've pretty much got 24 hours to do so. So shoot him a line. And other than that, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you hopefully sometime soon. I can't promise you we'll do this every week from here on out because it is time consuming, and I have to stay up very late for this. But hopefully next week, hopefully future weeks.
I'd be happy now that I have a computer, which, for anyone unaware, computer broke down, woke up, computer was off, turned it on, wasn't going to go on. In my attempt to fix it, I killed it further. In my attempt to fix that, I killed it further. So I had to buy everything. So 2 weeks, I'm back. I'm fully able to do stuff now. So at the very least, see me around. Hopefully we'll see Lax. And our fellow friend Scissorfinger and I can't pronounce her name.
Amsterdam.
Okay. Yes.
Scissorfinger vanished about an hour ago and none of us noticed. But anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we wish you a good evening.
We wish you a Merry Christmas
and a Happy New Year.
And for that, we are out.
Night.
All right, man.